All right, welcome back to Thanks for Your Concern.
Welcome back, everybody, to another lovely episode or another lovely week here. Berenice, how was EDC Mexico? How have things been?
Things have been good. They have been a lot, okay? When I first thought, let me end my 3-week vacation with EDC Mexico, it seemed like a really fun idea. Granted, like after a 3-week vacation, you kind of want to just like not do anything. So 3 days back to back of partying, it was a hit for my 27-year-old little body. I also realized I don't know how to vacation because instead of like chilling out like a normal person, maybe like enjoying the weather, I was like, let me make 2 outfits for EDC while I'm in Mexico. So I ran around gathering materials, getting everything done. I mean, it was a good experience. Like, I love who I am every second of it, but I'm definitely tired. I don't know why, but I thought it'd be a good idea to get a flight out of Mexico City at 8 a.m., like the day after EDC. So I went like straight from EDC to the airport. And then Air Canada can, I don't have nice words for Air Canada because basically, so I am a resident, yay, but my green card got lost per se. I never got it. So they stamp my passport in the meantime as they issue another one, but takes forever. So even though I am a resident and I should be able to travel to Canada without like acquiring a permit as like a Mexican citizen, Air Canada told me to go fuck myself. And so basically I wasn't able to get on that flight. But they didn't tell me that until like 3 hours into being in the airport, like trying to speak to people who were just looking at me like I was not making any sense. So whatever, I was on my last brain cell, ended up booking another flight. It was a whole ordeal. Finally got home after being up for 24 hours, basically straight to work. So it's been like woof. Let's get it back into it. But I'm getting back into the flow of things. A 3-week vacation kind of like really gets you out of your routine and schedule, you know?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then now you're back.
Now I'm back, baby.
Well, how was the review for EDC
Mexico?
Like, with good vibes? Just loved it? How was raving in a different country? That's exciting.
Well, okay, so like the place where it's at, it's kind of within like a sketchy neighborhood. So like I would just say like that experience, I wouldn't do that alone. Cause like sometimes I'm like, oh, people should rave solo. I wouldn't do EDC Mexico by myself. But everything other than like kind of like the hood it was in, it was really cool. Like all good vibes. I didn't see a single fight. I was shocked, honestly. So, and there were people all ages, like there were kids there and they were like señores y señoras, like 50, 60 years old papis, just getting down. So that was different. It was also like obviously the food. Instead of getting like in the US, you get like every country's little booth, It's an all around the world experience. At EDC Mexico, it's all like traditional Mexican food, but like the most elaborate things that they make. So the food was pretty bomb and the prices were okay. Some of the drink prices were like standard, like $9 beer situation that I was like, this is ridiculous, but we got by. We got by. And another fun thing about EDC Mexico is that outside of EDC Mexico, there's so many vendors selling things for like $7 that you're just like, wow, America can't beat this. Can't beat this level of production. And
no.
So you got to run around after the show getting
Were there
really
any highlight
cheap
sets?
merch.
I don't even know. I didn't.
Highlight sets, yes. Mandagora. It's a site trans DJ from Mexico. And I believe he only performs in Mexico. I don't, but it's probably, countless of things. I didn't know how hard it was to get a visa or things like that. But his set was, wow. Like, that was different. Pretty cool. Favorite graphics I've seen like in a while. So if you haven't checked out Mandagora, I recommend.
Oh my god, I will literally do that right after this. Love it. Well, I love a good little review. I don't think not everyone goes to EDC Mexico, so I like a little
Yeah,
different review. I always like hearing about new raves.
it's fun. How are you? What you been up to?
It's going swimmingly over here. Well, I just have a couple funny stories. So I went to my grandma's house because I'm clearing stuff out, and I found some funny shit. So first of all, I like lived with my grandma growing up, and so in my room I still have an Orlando Bloom shrine that I have had since 2003. And I forgot because I guess I like blacked out, and I forgot that was up there. And so my cousin's like in my room and he's like, dude, what the fuck? He was like, that Orlando Bloom shrine is wild. And I totally forgot about it. I went up there and it's literally Orlando Bloom and then like affirmation sayings. It's almost like a vision board, okay? And I was like, oh, that's so funny because I was a huge Orlando Bloom lover. Still am. If he could get it. Like, anyway, so I just thought that shit was really funny. Another really funny thing, I've been spelling my name wrong and unknowingly
What do you
because
mean?
I found the birth announcement. Okay, so this is a long story. Not actually, it's not long at all. So, for anyone who doesn't know, they used to do birth announcements in the newspaper. Okay, so you would submit your birth announcement for the city so everyone fucking knew you had a kid. So my birth announcement was in the newspaper. I have 4 last names, so that's a little fun fact about me. But you can't fit 4 last names on a birth certificate, so you could only fit like I think 2 are on my birth certificate out of the 4. And so I've been dropping a letter out of one of my last names unknowingly. So I was like, well, that's a trip. I didn't know that was part of my name, and I think a lot of people my dad did this really funny thing because I was like, yeah, who the fuck do you know that has 4 last names? And my dad he was like, yup, we couldn't leave anybody out. And so that's why I have 4 last names.
You know what?
Make sure everyone's included.
I like big names. Okay, I
Me
think we
too.
should bring that back. Now we got people with 2 names. How sad. There's nothing to choose from.
I know. Well, and that's the thing is I didn't realize because a lot of people have first names for middle names. I just got the first name and then last name, last name, last name, last name, which is a little different. But I thought that was really funny, and it was really weird to see like the yellowing of a newspaper from the day I was born, because I'm like, holy shit, am I this old? I don't even think the kids know about birth announcements in a newspaper.
No. We're in the age
They
of
don't
the
do that
internet.
anymore.
They don't do that anymore. But
Yeah.
I'm glad that we were born in a different era, okay? It really gives us an edge. Now you get the 20-year-olds looking, where did you get those ideas? I was around during the time where those ideas came out. This isn't new. This is just inspired by.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I'm actually so pumped for our episode today. I think we should just get right into it.
Let's get it. Okie dokie. So this week we decided to do an episode based on something I hold very dear to my heart. So saying I said in college, it's live life lit.
The triple L's, baby. Guy Fieri has triple D's. We got the triple L's. Living life lit.
We had this like in cord writing in our first apartment on the living room wall. No furniture, just cord writing, live life lit.
Yeah.
It
Talk about minimalism.
It was because we didn't have any money, but I will say that in college, it basically really meant about turning up because we were severe alcohol drinkers and partiers. But we have taken a new spin to this saying.
Woo! We did like a 180, baby.
We're rebranding.
Well, actually, it's like a 360 because we're still living life lit. It just looks a little different. We had to go on a little journey, and now we're just. things a little
Yeah.
differently than we
Yeah.
did 10 years ago. Ugh,
Exactly.
gross.
I know. So this is living life lit without getting lit of substances. This is living life lit 2.0. Okay?
Yeah, living life lit 2.0 without substances. Been sober off of everything but caffeine for 11 months now, which is crazy. So, and I've even been
Woo!
cutting down on caffeine. Okay. So I took a little like caffeine tea break too, because, and then I did a little bit of research and I just was playing myself because I was thinking, like, oh, I'm only having 2 cups of coffee, but my glass is like 3 cups of coffee in and of itself. So I
Mm.
accidentally played myself and I was drinking like 6 cups of coffee. That's why I was feeling a
Oh.
little cray cray over the past last month. So now I've
Well,
cut
you
it down. So now I even feel like
that's
I'm
good.
like super sober because I'm not even off that caffeine no more.
Yeah. That's good. Glad you realized that. Glad you realized that. Uh, I can't say I'm there yet, but Ella is a little bit older than me, okay? So maybe by the time I get there, I'll be totally substance free. No, I still drink, not the same way I used to. I can definitely tell you that. My body just cannot handle that, and neither can
Yeah.
my mental and spiritual well being.
I think
No.
that's the thing. I feel like, everyone's on their own journey, but let me tell you something. I went from like I mean, I've been going on this journey, but I was like, you know what? I feel like maybe I don't need to be medicated, but I need to stop fighting my demons with more demons and making a couple different choices. And
Oh,
it really helped out. It has helped out a lot.
yeah. I think I that's the thing, right? I think you can always live life lit depending on your definition of lit. And I think with my definition of lit is like really enjoying and savoring every part of what life has to offer. And like a really big thing, at least like for me, was creating like stability within myself. So I could enjoy the things in life rather than like create chaos, right? Because like sometimes I think like, do I need to do that or am I just bored? You know what I mean? Am I just used to chaos, so I create chaotic energy in order to keep at the same level of where I've been? But do I need to do that? No.
I agree. I was thinking about like living life lit as living life to its fullest. And I actually watched the Bob Marley movie and like I was like silently crying because I just was like, oh my God, this man was only 36. And, he survived an assassination attempt and then just died of, natural causes of melanoma. And I was like, dang, each day is not guaranteed to you. You never know what's going to happen. So I want to live life to its fullest, like giving, I don't know, just having I guess 100% of my own capacity, 100% of the time, and it makes me feel a lot like better when I do have bad days because I know that it's not because I like got in my own way. It's just like a bad day and we can just move on and do the next day. I don't have regrets as much.
I
That's a
like
nice
that.
element of living life lit.
Yeah. And I think like once you really start like shutting out some of the chaos and like maybe doing better choices, even if it feels like boring at the time because that was probably like the first time you felt like a sense of there's nothing crazy going on in my life. That's like a great time to look at what are some of your goals, what are some of your dreams, no matter like how big or little they are. Like whether that looks like planning a trip, like where have you always wanted to go? Europe. All right, then like where in Europe can we go? How can we get there? And give yourself something to look forward to rather than like create drama or add anything that in your life that may not need to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also like boring is such a like relative term, and I think like, I honestly would sometimes I would describe my life as like pretty boring, but not really. I'm doing a lot and the boring part is that I don't have like a insane story like I used to. I used to have all these insane stories because I was doing insane shit. And so yeah, maybe me waking up every day and like going to Pilates is boring, but it's just a different type of life. And I think boring could be good. If you're used to chaos, maybe you need a little boring. And don't people want to say boring? Is it boring or do you have some peace? That's how I would like to describe it. Like my life is more peaceful now. It's not more boring, it's peaceful. I'm
I
not stirring
agree.
shit up for myself.
It is weird to recognize peace, and it's weird to keep peace. Okay, but also like, you know what has helped me recognize peace and keep it is by just like expressing gratitude. Like I think I started this a few years ago where I just like woke up every day and I was like, okay, what are the things that I'm like grateful for? And then just started, like my day naming those things and starting off like in a positive note and really taking the time in every experience to just like be grateful for that moment in time that I'm just able to live through this moment. I also feel like, not you could die any second, like not every moment is guaranteed, unfortunately. And being able to be like, wow, I'm so thankful for this moment and the people that are here right now. Like it it really keeps the glass like half full. Like something about expressing gratitude, I swear to God, like just like really does something to the brain chemistry. Having a good cry about how good life is, even if things aren't like fully perfect. Like you don't have to be at the best point of your life, of your career, for you to feel content.
I mean, I honestly I'm not even like a glass half full kind of gal. I'm like my cup is overflowing because I make it a fucking shot glass. You know what I'm saying? Like that is how much that I expect from life, and thus I have a lot. I feel overflowing all the time, because I think sometimes when you have like these huge expectations on like what quote unquote life should be or what your life should look like, yeah, you're gonna be fucking coulda, woulda, shoulda. You're gonna be kind of disappointed instead of being gracious for like, you know what? I love that I have the time to make soft scrambled eggs because honestly, it's like a privilege to have the luxury to take that time because there's been times in my life where, bitch, I was up, I was going, I didn't have sleep, I didn't have shit going on. So it's like, dude, the ability to have a nighttime routine is so nice because I remember these crazy fucking times where like I was working late or studying late and like had to maximize on sleep, which means it cut into self care and things like that. So like living life lit's like appreciating like, you know what, bitch, I can take an hour to get ready for bedtime and I'm gonna fucking enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for
Yeah.
this time. Even though
I think for me right now, I'm in a little bit of like, sometimes I feel like very stressed and based on like the things that I have to do. And I really do sit there and I'm like, okay, let me just like take a second to be like grateful for the fact that like I have a lot going on and I'm thankful that I have a lot going on. But also after being thankful for that, how the hell do I get things off my plate so I can actually live life lit? You know what I mean? And I think like with creating the life that you want and how you want to live, asking for help is like kind of like a huge factor, and delegating work and figuring out like a strategy. Like anything that essentially like stresses you or creates you to have like a hectic lifestyle, like you really do have somewhat of a power to change a lot of things in your life. So creating avenues, whether that is building community, asking for help from your support system. Like for me, that was really difficult to just ask for help because I feel like sometimes I ask for help and people are so unreliable that it like reminds me why I don't ask for help. But then people do come through, and that's how you realize like who really are the people that are going to be there for you. And that's also a good way to see who is actually part of your community. So definitely delegating your work at the end of the day, like creating an environment where it feels peaceful to be around. Now, sometimes that means like cutting out some people in your life. Like when you were saying like, oh, I used to have these crazy stories. Now I feel like I'm less the protagonist of my crazy stories, but sometimes things will happen to me because other people are in their kind of like wacko era and I'm associating myself with them where I'm like you know what I mean? Like I was somehow involved with this because this person is like on one, and I don't want to live like that anymore. You know what I mean? Like I feel like you can recognize when you're past a stage in your life, and it's fair to distance yourself from people who are still in that phase of their life. Not without no hard feelings, like I'm still going to be here for you when you want to get out of that. But like if you are creating chaos for yourself, I do not want to be dragged into that chaos. Like I got 10 million things going on.
Yeah.
When you need a lifeboat, I I'll come toss it to you and drag you out, but like I will not be entering the depths of the sea with you because we got things to do over there. My lifeboat came like 5
I mean,
years ago.
people, we ebb and flow through life, but I I don't know. I just am like, I don't know. I guess it's like another way for being thankful that like I literally don't have time to be the person I used to be. You know what I'm saying? Like I literally
Yeah.
could not have what I could not function the way I'm functioning now, being the older version of myself. And like I don't fucking know. Maybe in 5 years I'll fucking have another crazy time, but I just don't. I can't work right now with everything that's going on, and I think that's something kind of like beautiful is when you step into like a new version of living life lit and like defining that for yourself, and like not one version being better than the other, but being able to just like redefine what gives you drive and what makes life worth living. And like what I would say like keeps me happy is just like it's totally different than it used to be. Like 10 years ago, I was like, oh my God, I love going out and getting fucking obliterated with my friends. And like now I'm like, you know what, I really enjoy listening to audiobooks and going on really long walks with my dog. And like one's not better than the other, but like one is serving myself and my goals better than the other.
Yeah. I think, like, with me, part of me liking to hang out with my friends, go out with my friends, is just I genuinely really enjoy connecting with people. And maybe when I was younger, I felt like the only way I could connect with people was when I used to drink and go out because I thought that that was like the most fun version of myself, the most liked version of myself. But that is a lie. That was just the most relaxed version of myself, right? So like I used drinking to like calm down my anxiety, which allowed for me to be like this sort of more fun human. When I realized all I really needed to do was like figure out how to calm my anxiety within myself and be secure in myself, and that personality is always who I've been. She has always been in there. So just like by getting older and I think being more comfortable with myself and like not caring as much as like what people may think about who I am, my personality, whatever, I think like my more like authentic version of myself, I was able to like bring that out. And now I look for connecting with people in different ways. Like I just went to Oaxaca and I just went to EDC Mexico, and I was able to like connect with people without like being like feral and like effed up all the time. And that felt like a really genuine experience. And I still got so much from that experience without like, okay, EDC Mexico was like a little bit of partying and dancing, but like Oaxaca wasn't like at all. And I still had like a great time in Oaxaca with all the people I interacted. I felt that part of like my people, like liking to be around people, like fulfilled in that way because you can build connection anywhere. You don't have to use
Yeah,
substances to
baby.
do it.
I mean, I feel like the biggest place I build connection is like I love my Pilates girlies. I swear. It's like now it's crazy. It's just crazy where I feel like, I used to show up the same place at the same time. It was just like bars, but like you can still do the function of like showing up like anywhere. Like if you show up to the same yoga class after a couple of weeks and you put yourself out there, you eventually start making friends. It's so crazy. And it's like I don't know, it's really any place if you just consistently show up. And I think that's like what's really amazing about like the EDM community, especially it's like when you start going to like a sub genre of a sub genre, it's like you're just showing up at the same place at the same time. So you get to like be familiar and see familiar faces.
Yeah. And I really grew out of like the party friend scene because I don't believe those people are friends. I believe those people are acquaintances. So for me, when I like vibe with somebody off that type of environment, I immediately go like, "Hey, do you want to grab dinner? Do you want to go do something else? Like literally anything else outside from like being in like a nightclub environment all the time." And that's how I can really tell if people are like genuinely interested in like getting to know me, if our values align. Because at the end of the day, like I don't need to have like all this group of people that I vibe with when our values may not align. Like I don't really believe in like fake friendship like that. I don't like to be surrounded by people I can't trust. Like if I don't think that if I was in a place where I couldn't take care of myself, you wouldn't take care of me. I'm not putting my time or investment in being around you at all. You know, like I am not going to be mean to you or anything. I will be kind, but I just don't need to have you in my circle like that. You know what I mean? And I think mostly like growing up, I found that with a lot of people making certain friendships where I was like, I don't know if that person is interested in your well being like that. Like, you know what I mean? And sometimes
Yeah,
with
just
friends, that
people
was
that care.
hard. Yeah, like I just don't know if that person would really have your back. And then something horrible would happen to your friend and be like, "Who were you with?" "Oh, I was with that girl." And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
she was not ready to be a good friend. So definitely determining who the people that you are going to be around with and making sure they have your back is part of living life lit.
Yeah, and I feel like living life lit, part of something that, like, I don't know, is just like thinking about your goals and then kind of making your life align with your goals. So like I've been trying to, well, I have not been trying. I have been saving money, and that's because I have like goals to travel in the future, and that makes me like have to make certain choices, and I feel like you feel so much better about like cutting back when it has a purpose, I guess. So it's like you're like, okay, hey, I'm not gonna spend money willy nilly because I have this XYZ goal in mind. I think my next place is Peru, so that's what I'm saving for right now. So yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, woo! I think that's next. I think I'm gonna go see Machu Picchu for my birthday. We'll see. But yeah, but now it makes it really easy, and I think about spending money and then I'm like, no, I'd rather not. I'd rather go to Machu Picchu, quite frankly, you know?
I agree. If you're
Yeah.
bad at saving money, get out more because I had so much more fun spending money in Mexico. Things are cheaper, but also like anytime I would buy anything from like a street vendor or anything like that, like I knew exactly where my money was going. And I was like, I'd rather spend money here every day, all the time, than give big corporations in America more of my dollars. Okay. So
Yeah, I mean, some of my favorite experience when I went to well, one of my favorite experiences when I went to Thailand was going to the weekend market, and like there was a lot of like literal designers that worked there. And I met a bunch of Thai designers and I was like, "You know what? I am going to buy this purse from you because you fucking designed it, made it, and now are selling it to me." And so it feels so much like cooler and better. And I just feel like you kind of look, I mean, also Seattle's just so fucking expensive. You just go into a coffee shop. A couple of times. This is just like me. I have anxiety, so sometimes I will be told a price of something and I'll just buy it because I'm like too anxious to be like, oh, actually, I'm gonna pass.
no.
I know. I have multiple times recently gone into a store, and I had this happen to me the other day. I just was like, and I was like, you know what? I don't think I really want to spend $20 on lunch today. I think I just rather not. I thought I wanted to, but I just don't think this is it. And I left. And it's just because I'm like, I rather have the $20 in my pocket to do something that it actually needs to be done. So that's living life lit is being financially stable and making choices that aligns.
I used to be so stressed out about this, and I have gotten better at just like looking at my finances and just planning a little better. And if you put yourself some goals and you reach them, or if you're able to enjoy an experience that you save up for, it really does feel better when you're like, oh, it makes sense why I'm doing this. Makes you kind of like think longer term. I think a lot of my financial issues was that I never like a long term thinker. I'm more like a short term thinker, and becoming a more goal oriented person has been like have changing my habits, but it has become a lot nicer in my brain, heart, and spirit to be a little bit more financially stable.
Like little choices lead to like bigger things. So I feel like I kind of was like there you got to strike a balance, because I really don't think you need to be stressing out about every single fucking purchase. And like, I think I literally go really extreme, either I'm not spending any money at all, or I'm just don't give a fuck and I'm spending too much. So I'm trying to find like a middle ground. I don't know. It's like, I think like $23 a day over the course of a year is like $10,000, right? Is
Hmm.
something I think is going around on TikTok right now. But I was just kind of thinking, I was like, man, yeah, $130 a month on on a facial. And it ends up being like closer to like 175. 175 a month. Oh, that doesn't seem that bad. And then you're like, over the course of the year, you're like, no, wait, that's like 2 trips. You know? I'd rather go on
Yeah.
2 trips. So
Yeah.
whatever's in
Long
your
term
bucket.
thinking. Long term thinking. Do you got any other ones about living life lit?
I feel like my biggest thing with living life lit is I'm trying to enjoy the people I have while I have them. I've been thinking about that a lot lately, and trying to include more people into things I usually do on my own. Like, I don't I haven't talked about this on the podcast, but me and my cousin are seeing all the Oscar nominated movies and shorts. Yeah, so we're about 75% of the way there. But I've been like inviting my family and friends to come do that with me. And they might not say no, but at least I'm like including them in the fold, and like inviting friends that you think like, oh, maybe I don't know, just letting them decide to say no instead of me saying no for them. Being like, I don't think my friend wants to go to a super hard Pilates class at 9 a.m. on a Sunday. I'll just letting them make that choice, I guess. And so living life lit is like including people in all aspects of my life, and like allowing for crossover.
No, I like that. I think also part of my living life lit is a little similar. It is not taking people for granted, and that's especially like family. I think going to Mexico and like realizing like how big of a family I have and how much like they all just like are genuinely invested in my well-being. And I'm really bad at like communicating with people over the phone, but that is the only way that we can do it. You know what I mean? And that's just the reality of the situation, is they
Yeah.
live in a different country. So just becoming a little better at just checking in. Like, it doesn't have to be like a big conversation with anyone. Like, hey, just want to see how you're doing. I think people appreciate that way more than I give people credit for. So just be trying to become that person. And I anything can become a habit if you just like practice it enough. So even setting alarms like every week, like call my grandma just to see how she's doing. Um, reply to, this is the time schedule to reply to your text messages daily, just so I can sit down
Mm.
and make sure like the people in my life feel just as appreciated as they you know like they should feel.
I'm with you on that. I had to do the same thing where I set an alarm to like talk to my grandma every week, and like now I'm very thankful that I did that. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting that you say that, because it's something that I did on a weekly basis, called my grandma every Sunday, and like now it's like, well, we had a lit conversation the last time I talked to her, told her how much I love her, and like bing bang boom. Yeah, so I mean, I guess living life lit also, I'm kind of realizing my own mortality in the way that like I've like really tried to stop beating up on myself. Like, living life lit, just letting myself fucking be. I am a person who like thrives to be better, better, better. And sometimes I just need to fucking chill the fuck out and
Yeah,
just be like, this is how things are. It's cool. We don't need to change every single thing about us every single day.
100%. And just knowing when like your plate is full. Right now I haven't been going to the gym as much as I want to. Okay. And I it's different, but I don't need to go to the gym every day to like like feel like I'm being productive. So sometimes it's okay to give yourself, be a little compassionate with yourself about your productivity, about the things that are making you happy. And if you have to relocate sometimes for new things, that's also okay.
Hey, and I mean, honestly, to the point that you just said, change things up. You never know how things are gonna go. I've been working out way less, but ooh, my traps, y'all. I would show you my traps, but it would be inappropriate. But my traps are trapping right now, bro. I have been looking
Be
so built,
inappropriate.
but it would be inappropriate. Anyways, I look like I'm on roids. No, I'm just joking. But I'm changing up my routine, and now I only work out like 3 days a week, and then I just do lots of walking, which is also working out. But like, dude, I used to be at the gym like 6 days a week, and now I'm getting better results going less. So you never know. Change it up. It might end up being better.
Change it up. All right, everybody. Well, thanks. Yeah, thanks for listening. As always, please subscribe. Tell a buddy about an episode. Maybe somebody that has to live live lit a little differently litty that they've been living it. And I'm at Bernice Ideas M.
I'm at Ella L Tutor. We will see you next week. Bye.